you have seen me present how you can have some dumb fun with Nova right now. I've included in that video the different mechanics or playstyle you can do with Nova, utilizing all her abilities to their full potential. If you haven't checked the video yet, then I advise you to do so by simply clicking the link I provided near the end of this video. For now, let me share with you a Nova build that should never be taken for granted. When you hear about Nova, you hear about slow and speed. The highlight of using Nova is obviously her molecular prime. Although her other abilities are also useful, her fourth ability is the best since it offers global crowd control. Altering its power strength will either slow enemies, or hasten their movement. That's what players mostly tell you about Nova. What they don't tell you often is that enemies affected by molecular prime will receive 100% damage from all sources. Also, they don't always tell you that most of the player base doesn't like seeing speed and slow Nova in their team composition. In my experience, slow is always best to use in an organized team. Usually, Nova will be useful in a team during excavation missions. However, this is not always a case because there are better frames in a team composition than Nova when it comes to excavation mission. The most practical use for Nova is during Plague Star Bounty, during the mixing phase, and the final fight against those hemocytes. Also, thumpers are target practice for Nova. In fact, you can effectively solo these types of missions with this frame. Some also want to go solo survival with Slova, but that's just a personal preference. When it comes to speed Nova, she's always best to use in defense mission to hasten the wave completion. The fact is, not all players will have a good day if you bring either a slow Nova or a speed Nova during a random mission. This is the fact. Players, including me, often tell you that you should build Nova for speed or slow. What we don't tell you is Nova can be built neutral. What do you mean, squad leader? This means no slow, nor speed builds. When you cast Molecular Prime, you don't intend on slowing or hastening the pace, but you will prime enemies so that they will receive additional damage to all sources. Well, that's dumb. It may sound stupid, but it's actually the best build if you want to make Nova versatile in every missions. A neutral Nova will only need power donation on your aura slot. It doesn't tell you how much slow it actually takes off, but once you put this aura mod on your Nova, it will neutralize the slow percentage. You can't slow, nor hasten enemy movement. This means that you will not alter the enemy flow in missions, making you good support for that increased damage on your molecular prime. What's more interesting about a neutral Nova is you can incorporate tankiness on this build. A steady stream of enemies means you can kill those primed enemies quick, making molecular fission a perfect ingredient for this neutral build. It's also very good in team composition. With enemies moving normally in the field, it would be easier for your teammates to find and kill them, which in return, will constantly refill your lost null star charges, making it possible to infinitely have that 90% damage reduction coming from your first ability. Now this build doesn't need 8 former, by the way. It will only require you a minimum of 4 former to replicate this build, and a max of 5 when you decide to put an aura former on your Nova. Neutral Nova build is really underrated, and often disregarded because of the popularity of both slow and speed builds. However, this build is more practical to use in almost every scenario. Honestly, your team will not get annoyed but will be pleased because you are handing them extra power strength, plus bonus damage from your molecular prime. Not that it's only an all-purpose build, but it's also good in solo endurance runs. Since enemy movement will not be altered, their flow and spawn will be constant, and you can maintain life support easily. Not to mention that you will be very tanky since you will constantly kill primed enemies, refilling your null star charge. It's also worth noting that you can use antimatter drop, and as well as your wormhole with this kind of build. Overall, neutral build should be appreciated, as it's very effective in almost all scenarios. Now go try out neutral Nova, and see what I mean. But before you do, please subscribe and leave a like on this video. Also, if you want to join our community, feel free to visit our Discord server. The link to our server is added to the pinned comment below. See you there. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.